This is arguably the most futuristic monitor on the planet right now in the LG OLED Flex, a 42-inch 4K screen that can bend itself. It's able to do this with the motor in the back flexing these arms back and forth, from fully flat all the way to a 900R curve, which combined with a 40-watt speaker system and the fusion lighting effects on the back makes this thing feel like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. At 100% curved, the edges of the screen are roughly 4.5 inches out from the center. And what's cool about it though is you can control how curved it goes. Everything on here looks absolutely amazing. It's OLED, you get perfect blacks, nearly perfect colors, and high dynamic range, all at a 4K resolution with a 120Hz refresh rate. Of course, at $3,000, it's really expensive. But if you want the best of the best, if you want the coolest and most futuristic monitor slash TV on the planet, well, this is it. This is the Nothing Phone 1 with a fully transparent back that has an array of LEDs underneath it. These LEDs aren't just there to look cool, but they also have some functionality to them as well. One of the features is when you get a call or a message, the LEDs can light up in sync with the ringtone. But maybe more useful than the ringtones is the flip to glyph feature, where when you set the phone face down on a table, it'll automatically set the ringer to silent. The LEDs also let you know when reverse wireless charging is working. The bottom LED here can act as a little charge meter. In the camera app, the LEDs act as a fill light, and then there's even this little red light to let other people know when you're recording a video. Maybe my favorite feature with the whole glyph thing is this music visualization feature, where any audio coming out of the speakers will have an accompanying light show. Sure, it kind of looks like an iPhone, but on the back, it just looks so much better than any other phone on the market. This is the completely redesigned MacBook Air. We have the laptop itself, your typical paperwork, along with a power brick and the included charging cable. But here is the MacBook Air itself, and it looks awesome. I really like this midnight color. It's a dark blue that almost looks black depending on how the light hits it. The MacBook Air now has a flat design instead of the tapered one that we had before. On the side, we have a MagSafe charging port now. The next big change we have is the screen, with it now being bigger thanks to having thinner bezels and a notch that goes around the camera. Speaking of the camera, it's now 1080p for sharper FaceTime and video calls. Now, in terms of the display itself, it's 25% brighter than before. There's now 4 speakers instead of just 2. The function keys now have full height instead of the compact versions. And of course, the biggest new improvement on this entire laptop is what's underneath it, with this new MacBook Air being powered by Apple's all-new M2 chip, which Apple says is between 18 and 35% faster than the M1 chip in the last MacBook Air. This is the iPhone 15, which we got in what Apple is calling blue, even though this totally looks way more like white. Inside the box, there's the USB-C cable, and this new cable is actually pretty nice, with it being braided, so it should be a bit more durable. Here is the phone itself. One of the big new changes is it has a USB-C port instead of a Lightning port. At least visually, a bigger change I think is on the back, where Apple is finally using matte glass instead of the glossy finish on the iPhone 14 and before. The aluminum frame has also been improved this year, with it being ever so slightly rounded at the edges. The real most noticeable change is there's no longer a notch on the screen, with the standard models getting the same dynamic island that we first saw on last year's Pro models. But unfortunately, it's still only 60 Hz. You still only have 2 cameras for wide and ultra wide, but because the iPhone 15 has a new 48 megapixel sensor, you can now zoom in at 2x without losing any image quality. So it's kind of like having 3 cameras. This is a wallet that looks exactly like the folder icon on Macs. The design is pretty spot on, from the 2 different shades of blue for the front and the back of the folder, down to the little details like these 2 lines here at the bottom. I will say the only thing that looks off to me is this curvature here on the tab, which is a little bit more sloped on the wallet compared to the actual icon. But still, anybody who sees this and has a Mac will immediately recognize what it is. The wallet itself is made with vegan leather that's stitched together pretty nicely. There are 2 slots for your cards and your cash, with the lining on the inside being the same type of microfiber that Apple uses on their iPhone cases. The wallet doesn't support MagSafe like Apple's own wallets do, so I'm not sure if it could be considered the ultimate wallet for hardcore Apple fans, but it's pretty close. This is the best built keyboard I've ever tried, and it's made by a phone company in OnePlus. The first thing you notice when you pick the keyboard up is how heavy it is, and it's due to its all-metal body. There's just a single logo on the entire keyboard, which replaces the escape key. What really makes the keyboard stand out is this volume knob here at the top right. It has this tactile feel to it while you rotate it. On the top, you've got the familiar OnePlus switch for connecting via USB or Bluetooth. There's another switch for Windows or Mac modes. The keyboard also has this riser which allows you to adjust the height at various levels. On the back, OnePlus's slogan of never settle is upside down, so you can flip it up to make extra room on your desk, at which point the never settle text is right side up. We got the version with the winter bonfire switches, which give the keys a tactile feel. It also has this really satisfying sound to it. Although, should you ever want to, the keyboard is hot swappable. Starting at $219, the Keyboard 81 Pro isn't necessarily cheap, but it also doesn't feel severely overpriced. This is the Pixel Fold, Google's first ever folding phone, and one that solves some of the major issues with other foldables. The first thing that stands out about it is how thin it is, with it not being much thicker than an iPhone with a case on it. The back is matte glass with the iconic Pixel camera bar, it's got shiny aluminum, and unlike the Galaxy Fold, the outer screen is a lot more like a regular phone except for just shorter. This means that typing on it doesn't feel super cramped, and using it hands-free in tabletop mode is actually enjoyable. The screen on the inside is 7.6 inches, so the same size as the Galaxy Fold, except it has a landscape orientation, so some apps still don't scale properly, and it does have chunkier bezels, which is definitely my least favorite part about the phone. When you close it, the Pixel goes fully flat, but unfortunately, it doesn't unfold fully flat unless you pull it all the way back. But what the Pixel has going for it is the triple camera system, which includes a 5x periscope lens for some of the best photos you can get on a foldable. This is the Nothing Phone 2, the second version of the phone that lit up the smartphone market with its transparent back and LEDs. It looks a lot like last year's. The glass on the back now has this slight curve. The color is a brighter gray compared to last year's deeper black. You can still set a number of different ringtones and notifications that sync up with the lights, but this year you can even compose your own patterns and set them to individual contacts. There's now an option to use the LED for a timer that goes down as time expires. The Phone 2 is powered by the Snapdragon 8 Plus chip, which also enables better cameras, with nothing saying that the Phone 2's 50 megapixel cameras actually capture 4,000 times more data than the Phone 1's cameras. The selfie camera also got a bump from 16 megapixels up to 32 for sharper photos, and so did the battery, going from 4,500 milliamp hours up to 4,700 milliamp hours. While the Phone 2 starts at $600, what makes it special is the fact that it's just fun. It's a breath of fresh air in a smartphone market that seems less and less differentiated year by year. This is Astro, Amazon's $1,600 robot designed to help you around your house. Beyond being just Alexa on wheels, Astro has some pretty cool features. It's probably the most versatile security camera on the market, with a telescoping camera that's able to look out a window. It can check in on things while you're away, like if you forgot to lock the front door, and it can even do automated patrols. There's a cargo bin on the back that can hold over 5 pounds. It can deliver drinks to people by recognizing their faces, with it managing to avoid spilling a single drop in our spill test. Astro has a really loud 2.1 speaker system, making it a legit Bluetooth speaker that can follow you around your house. There's a USB-C charging port, so it's the only power bank that I know of that can come to you and then go charge itself back up. But my favorite part about Astro is it's kind of like a robot pet, with its animated face and expressions and all the little noises it makes. It's cute like a pet, and it also acts like one too. It greets you when you come home, it has favorite spots that it likes to hang out in, and it even has little tricks, from acting like different animals to pretending to be a little robot vacuum. This is the Retro 67, Shargeek's newest addition to its charger lineup that look like old school Macintoshes. What's new with the 67, outside of the fact that it's significantly bigger, is it now has a functioning display. Not only capable of showing you this cool little matrix animation, but it also tells you how fast your devices are charging. Up top, there are now 3 USB ports instead of just 1, so you can charge your Apple Watch, your iPhone, and your MacBook all at the same time. Now, if you want the absolute fastest charging speed from it, you'll want to use just one port, which lets you charge at up to 67 watts, but keep in mind, when you do charge more than one device, the output gets split across the ports, with the fastest port getting limited to 45 watts, which honestly is still pretty fast. Now, in terms of the downsides, the display on here isn't the brightest, and because the pins are at the bottom, when you plug this into the wall, it ends up facing upwards, which kind of defeats the purpose of having the screen. But for tabletop outlets, and for just looking cool in your travel bag, I really like it.